Say today we will discuss about virtualization. Okay. So why virtualization is very important for cloud computing is in the AWS data centers, they will have the physical hardware. On top of that, they're going to virtualize. The physical servers are going to virtualize, and we are connecting to the servers, or we are getting virtual computing environments. Okay, so what is that virtualization we'll discuss? So virtualization is the process of creating the virtual resources from one physical resource. It may be a computing or maybe a operating system, storage, network. So we no need of multiple physical servers. One physical resource can be like virtualized into multiple resources. So you want 100 servers. Our understanding is we need to purchase 100 physical hardware. We need to purchase 100 CPUs, 100 memory, 100 motherboards, or 100 like NIC adapters. Then we need maybe like switch routers. All these physical devices, whatever we have, we can virtualize. We are going to virtualize. That means multiple operating systems. If we want to run the multiple servers, we no need of multiple physical servers. Even one server also is fine. Okay, so one server also is fine, and we are going to use those virtual kind of servers. Like previously, even in the remote data centers also, we have the virtualization, and in the cloud, 99% will have the virtualization itself. Maybe very rare 1% we will have the physical servers. That's to some specific client requirements they're going to give. So what are the types of virtualizations we have? So what are the types of virtualizations we have in the market? So we have the server virtualization, desktop virtualization, and application virtualization. So what are the types of virtualizations we have in the market is? So we have the server virtualization, desktop virtualization, then application level, we have the virtualization. What is the concept of server virtualization is on a single server, we can run multiple operating systems. We can virtualize at the hardware level. That means it's CPU, memory. We no need of multiple RAMs, storage, then network level also. We no need of 1,000 hard disk if you want 1,000 devices. Okay, so maybe storage level, network level also we are going to virtualize using server virtualization. Okay, then desktop virtualization we have is the second type of virtualization. In the desktop virtualization, desktops can be delivered to any device in the world. That means I want 10,000 desktops. I no need of 10,000 desktops also. Those also can be delivered to any device. Okay, then the next one is application virtualization. What is the concept of application virtualization is, we no need to install the applications on your devices from the like any device, anywhere, the applications also can be delivered. That means if 1,000 users want to use MS Office, in each and every laptop, we need to install MS Office. But if you go for the application virtualization, we no need to install the applications also. Okay, from the remote servers, we can deliver the applications. Any idea on application virtualization is, okay, so we have Office 365. Today, everyone are using Office 365 or Microsoft 365, Google App Engines. We no need to install the applications also. So like this, we have a lot of advantages to go for application virtualizations also, desktop virtualizations, but from the cloud wise, which is more important? So which is more important from the cloud wise? from the cloud wise, the server virtualization is very, very important. From the cloud wise, server virtualization is very, very important. Yeah. Any doubts?
Yeah, you tell like that in server virtualization we have only keep one CPU, one memory, and one storage, like right?
Yes, yes. But the
But
CPU is
but
again we
in
have.
memory,
Yeah.
but in CPU in the one instance we have to put lot of more, means whatever the operating system need we will put in a single instance, right?
Yeah, but that physical hardware is a very high-end kind of server.
Okay,
So whatever the physical hardware we are using is a very high-end kind of server. It
okay,
will have more CPU cores, more sockets, more RAM, and that too not the desktop kind of RAM.
okay. Means you tell like that, sir. Virtualization will consume less CPU, less memory, less, right?
Yeah, it's allocate the resources in a better way compared to physical resources.
Okay.
It will allocate the resources in a better way.
But resources will consume as same as like physical server
Yeah,
only.
every company has certified there is no difference between a physical device and a virtual device.
Okay, 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 got it.
Okay, so there is no difference
Yeah,
between a virtualization and that kind of certified. Every company has certified there is no difference between a physical server, a virtual server, or cloud-based servers also. Okay, sure. Any other doubts?
okay, got it.
Okay, so then here we are going to
No from
use,
my side.
yeah. So suppose here we have a lot of advantages. It's going to manage the resources efficiently and increases the productivity. Okay, then even like uh, uh, high availability, all those also we can configure. So the company is having like a greater efficiency and we can move agility easily and more efficiently we can manage the resources. We have a lot of advantages to go for virtualization. Indirectly in the cloud also we are getting all these benefits. Okay, with the local virtualization, say suppose that means in our company we are going to use the local virtualization or private cloud. Can you tell me what are the challenges we have? If we want to maintain the private cloud or maybe virtualization in our on-premises, what are the challenges we have? Okay, so what are the challenges we have is that on-premises we need a lot of upfront cost. Means upfront we need to purchase that huge servers and most of them are not open sources also. Then we require a lot of cost for licenses. And I need like vSphere admin or VMware admin. There will be a VMware team to manage all these. Again, that is very expensive kind of thing. Support is required 24/7. Like these all very expensive. If you go for the cloud, we are getting still the virtualization itself. But you no need to worry about any of these. Everything has been taken care by the cloud service provider itself. Everything has been taken care by the cloud service provider itself. That hardware, virtualization, licenses, administration, support, everything also is taken care by cloud. Okay, so with the virtualization itself, we have a lot of advantages. But on top of that, cloud is it's giving very simple kind of thing for us. Okay, so when virtualization is more beneficial compared to physical servers. Okay, but when the virtualization is more, virtualization to cloud, which is more beneficial? Virtualization to cloud, which is more benefit for us? The cloud is easy to manage. Cloud is easy to manager. Okay, so we can cut down the cost, server cost, data center space, data center cooling, power consumption, okay, hardware, time. Okay, we have a lot of advantages. On top of virtualization, okay, so what is another advantage we are getting is it opens automation also. So on top of virtualization, the automation itself is easy to kind. Okay, so in the next classes you will understand what is that automation. Okay, so here we have the types of virtualization is server virtualization, desktop virtualization, and application virtualization. And what is your understanding of server virtualization? Using server virtualization on a single server, we are going to run the multiple operating systems. This looks like a single server itself, but we are running multiple operating systems. Okay, and what is the general name for a server virtualization is a hypervisor. Okay, so what is the general name for server virtualization? Hypervisor. For the hypervisor itself, we can call one more name called as VMM. It's virtual mission manager kind of thing, or virtual mission monitor. So what hypervisor is doing is hypervisor act as an interface between the hardware and the virtual missions. Okay, it is going to allocate the resources. It is going to monitor the VMs. All this is going to be taken care by the virtual mission manager. Okay, so it's maybe available as an OS, or sometimes it's maybe a firmware, or it's maybe an application also. Okay, so then what are the types of hypervisors also we'll discuss. So what is the meaning of hypervisor? Hypervisor is nothing but a general name for server virtualization. It's a general name for server virtualization. Okay, so what are the types of hypervisors we have in the market? So we have type 1 hypervisor. Then second one is type 2 hypervisor. Okay, what is the concept of type 1 hypervisor is? Type 1 hypervisor itself is called as bare metal hypervisor also. So it's a bare metal hypervisor, and in the type 2 hypervisor we are going to get, in the type 2 hypervisor it's called as hosted shared hypervisor. Okay, so type 1 hypervisor is called as bare metal hypervisor, or type 2 hypervisor itself is called as hosted shared hypervisor. What is the meaning of bare metal is, say today we got an hardware. On top of the hardware, the first like we are installing is the hypervisor itself. That means it's a hypervisor is available mostly as an operating system. Okay, so normally in your laptop, which operating system you have? You may have Windows, Linux, or maybe Mac. Okay, but here in the bare metal hypervisor, we are installing as bare metal hypervisor, we are installing as an operating system. As an operating system. Okay, so then, like, what is the meaning of bare metal? That means the first operating system we are installing is the type 1 hypervisor, or it may be available as firmware also. So that I'll tell one example. If you purchase iPhone, iOS is coming as a firmware or not? Okay, that means type 1 hypervisors are available as a firmware also. Our operating system means those are directly installed on top of, those have been installed on top of bare metal. Whereas if I go for the type 2 hypervisor, type 2 hypervisor already will have a hardware. On top of that, already one operating system would be there. It's maybe Windows or Linux or Mac. On top of this, we are installing type 2. Can you tell me type 1 where we have installed? Where we have installed the type 1?
On top of hardware.
On top of hardware as a bare metal. Whereas type 2 we have installed is on?
On top of OS.
On top of the OS. So now type 2 mostly we will install as an application. Because it's already like OS is there, right? Already you have a Mac. Okay, I want to use Windows on top of Mac. Then I'm install like a type 2 hypervisor. On top of that, I can run Windows. Or I have Windows 10. I want to practice Linux. Or I want to install Windows Server. Okay, so among these two, can you tell me what are the types of hypervisors we have? What are the types of hypervisors we have in the market?
Two.
Yeah, two types. What are those?
Bare metal hypervisor and hosted
Yeah,
share
bare metal
hypervisor.
hypervisor and hosted shared hypervisor. Okay, the bare metal hypervisor will have one more name, that is?
Shrikant, sorry to interrupt you. I'm just want to ask one question like that.
Yeah.
What's the type 2 application install? What is additional can we install in our system? Can you describe it?
Yeah. So suppose here I'll show you one thing. Here in my laptop, I have already Windows 11.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I have installed here VMware Workstation.
Okay.
Okay, so here this is a VMware Workstation. So now on top of my Windows 11, here I'm running lot of other servers.
Okay.
So that means here
Okay. So
I can yeah.
can I ask some question? Actually, in case if we install the putty inside our window, so this is
Yes.
also type 2.
No. Putty, we are just connecting to remote server.
Okay. And
That,
WinSCP?
that remote server, no. WinSCP is to copy the files.
Okay.
So here, technically, this Windows server is different. So here, almost 5 servers I'm running here.
Okay.
Okay, I have only one laptop, but I'm running technically 5 servers.
Okay. Can you give me more example of the application
No.
which we can use in our window?
No. This is application means VMware Workstation. I have installed as application. I'm telling.
Yeah. Shrikant, I get it your point that you are installed this VMware
Workstation
workstation. Okay.
as
Okay.
application. But
Yeah,
whereas
as application.
type 1 is installing as operating system itself on the bare metal.
Yeah, but I'm asking like that. uh, One more application example like that can be installed in our window, like that you install VMware workstation. Any other example of application which we can install where we use like file connect to in our windows?
Yeah. We can install
Yeah.
any application we can install, but those are not hypervisors, right?
Okay.
Okay, so now here you are telling you can install a putty software. Putty software is used to remote SH connection. Okay, WinSCP is used to copy the files from Windows to Linux or vice versa.
Okay.
These are all the applications. Application doesn't mean every application is not a hypervisor, right? Okay, so now here VMware Workstation. Okay, at least can you tell me VMware Workstation? Everyone try to answer. VMware Workstation is a type 1 hypervisor or type 2 hypervisor? VMware Workstation is a type
It
1
is type 2.
hypervisor. Come again?
Type 2.
Yeah, it's a type 2 hypervisor. Like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
in the market, we have, like in the type 2 hypervisors, we have in the market Oracle VirtualBox is there. On top of Linux also, we have Vagrant. If you have a Mac, okay, so on top of Mac, we can install VMware Fusion, Microsoft Virtual PC. These all the type 2 hypervisor examples.
Yeah, actually that I'm asking Shrikant. Yeah, really, thank you so much.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you got the point, right?
yeah, I got
If
it.
you go for the type 1 hypervisors, the leader is VMware ESXi server. Okay, who is the leader in type 1 hypervisor? VMware ESXi server,
Yes.
or this itself is called as vSphere. That itself is called as the vSphere. Okay, then Citrix having one more hypervisor called as Gen server. Then Microsoft having Hyper-V. Microsoft having a Hyper-V. Then Red Hat Kernel Virtual Mission. Oracle Virtual Server. So for the desktop virtualization, they have Oracle VirtualBox. Here they have
These are
Oracle
the
Virtual
example of
Server.
hypervisor 1.
Which one?
Hypervisor 1.
Yeah, these all type 1 hypervisors.
Okay.
So now here I have a doubt in the cloud or in the remote data centers in the real time. Can you expect we are going to use type 1 hypervisors or type 2 hypervisors?
I think type 2.
No. Type 2 is only for our laptops or basic for the small environments only.
Okay.
The data center product is the type 1
Hypervisor 1.
hypervisors. So
Type
everyone,
1.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone are
Yeah.
going to use VMware means like a basic guy like understanding is he may understand workstation. Okay, but an admin will understand it's a VMware ESXi server or another name is called as vSphere. Okay, in the cloud, any cloud in the world is required one hypervisor in their hardwares. Okay, so now which cloud we are discussing? AWS. AWS is using one hypervisor called as Zen Source. What is the difference between Zen Source and Zen Server? I will explain. But AWS is using one hypervisor. What is that? Zen Source. Okay. Azure is using, Azure have their own hypervisor. What is that? Azure have their own hypervisor is there. Hyper-V we have. Azure having a Hyper-V. Then Google Cloud is using a KVM, Kernel Virtual Mission. OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, is using Oracle Virtual Servers, their own hypervisor itself. And if you go for VMware private cloud, this is VMware vCloud. Can you guess VMware vCloud uses which cloud? VMware itself. They have VMware vSphere. Okay. So these all, like any cloud in the world, in their hardware, they're going to virtualize. And that is a type 1 hypervisor or type 2 hypervisor. Is it type 1 hypervisor or type 2?
Type 1.
Type 1 in the data centers or in the cloud. Okay, no one will use type 2. Only we are going to use type 1 in our laptops, desktops. It's not an enterprise product. It's a desktop product. Whereas type 1 hypervisor is a data center product or cloud-based product or cloud data center product. Okay, so can you tell me what is the like a hypervisor used by AWS means what you will tell? What is a hypervisor used by AWS means? AWS is using Gen Source. Okay, Azure is using
Hyper-V.
Hyper-V. Okay, Azure, what is the advantage is they no need to pay the licensed one. Okay, so here if I use the Citrix Gen server, mostly it's a licensed one. That is the reason AWS is using open source. Okay, so why we are not using VMware ESXi server? I said VMware ESXi server is the leader, right? But why cloud are not using? Okay, if they use the VMware ESXi server, the license cost is very, very expensive. License cost
But
is
if we will not keep license, then it will maybe hazardous for us in the future for server.
if you don't
Is
use
it safety?
come again.
For safety purpose, GenForce is good.
That's
If
AWS
it
will
is,
take care. That AWS is not a small company, right?
yeah.
That support engineers, they can take 200 engineers also, they may take.
Okay.
You got the point, right?
Yeah, got it.
If for that high scalability, if they want to use VMware licenses, instead of that, better to acquire VMware itself. Instead of paying that much, because they will have thousands of servers. For each and every server, it's a huge license cost. So instead of that, better to go for their own hypervisor itself. Almost GenSource, like AWS team will provide the support also. They will take care of that. You got it right?
Yeah, got it, sir.
Okay. So most of them, other than AWS, Azure, if you go, otherwise OCI, if you go, VMware, you go, they have their own already hypervisors are there. Okay.
Okay.
So then once we got the hypervisor, I hope you understand the type 1 and the type 2 hypervisor. So now here, can you tell me this one? We have a hardware on top of that host operating system, on top of virtualization software, VMs are running. Can you tell me this diagram is type 1 or type 2?
Type 1.
See properly. On the hardware, what we
It's
have?
type 2.
Okay, it's a type 2. Okay, because if you go for a hardware, on top of that itself will have the hypervisor or virtualization software. On top of that itself, we are going to have
It's a type 1, right? Bare metal.
yeah. So now here, if you go for the type 1 hypervisor, on top of hardware itself will have the hypervisor.
It's a type 2. Then if we have the
No.
OS, then it will be type 1, right?
No. This host operating system is normal Windows, Linux, like this. Say
Okay.
you have a MacBook, already Mac OS is there in that. In the Apple, we have already Mac OS is there. That is the host operating system. Okay, if you come to the type 1 hypervisor, on the type 1 hypervisor, we have already the hypervisor itself is installing on top of. So this example will show. So we have a physical server, type 1 hypervisor, it's maybe Hyper-V or Oracle, or maybe we have a VMware ESXi servers. We are installing. On top of that, we are running multiple virtual machines. Any doubts on that? And if I go for this type 2 hypervisor, on top of hardware, I'll have my operating system. On top of that, I'll have a hypervisor. Say in my example also, I have a laptop. On top of that, I have my Windows 11. On top of that, I have VMware Workstation. On top of that, I have run Windows servers, AD, some 5 to 7 servers I'm running.
In type 1, where we have OS system?
That hypervisor itself is an operating system.
Okay.
So that is the reason here I said, right? Mostly the type 1 hypervisors are available as operating system or the firmware itself.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas type 2 hypervisors are available as application type. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
So no doubts about this, right? Type 1 and type 2. So now, like I'll use one terminology, try to understand. that physical server mostly in the cloud or virtualization environment also, that physical server is called as host. Okay, host mission. Okay, that host mission in our on-premises environment, we will take care. But in the cloud, who will take care? That cloud service provider will take care. That host mission is nothing but it's a physical server. Okay, what AWS will do first, they got the physical servers. They're going to install Gen servers or Gen source in all those missions. Okay, so Gen source they're going to install on those missions. On top of that, they're going to install the virtual missions. That virtual mission itself is called as instance in the AWS terminology. So why they're calling as instance, I will explain. When AWS came in the market, okay, when the AWS came into the market, virtualization is leading the market. Everyone are using virtualization. If the AWS tells, even I'm also giving virtualization, then what is the comment we can get? Already we have virtualization. Then what is special in AWS? At that moment, maybe 2007, 2008, people doesn't have the maturity to understand the difference between virtualization and cloud. Okay, so people doesn't have the understanding capability to differentiate. A slight gap is there between virtualization and the cloud. But technically, both are getting the virtual missions only finally. Okay, so in that moment, AWS don't want to use the term called virtual mission. That is the reason they called as instance. But there is no doubt about that. It's a virtual server or virtual mission itself. Okay, I'll tell one example. You go for maybe a 5-star hotel. They may not call that room as not a room. So they may use suite to studio, whatever it may be. But technically, it's a room or not?
It's a room.
It's a room, but they don't prefer to, or they don't like to use that as a room. They may call with a different word. Okay, so in AWS also in the same way, it's technically it's AWS virtual mission. Okay, but AWS don't want to keep that word. But today the world knows it's a virtual mission itself. Okay, so now they kept one word called that is called as instance. What is that? It's an instance. Instance is nothing but it's a physical mission or virtual server.
It's a virtual.
It's a virtual server. Okay, so then I'll tell one example. Host shared by multiple instances in AWS also. No doubt about this, right? So that means whenever we connect it to an instance, our understanding is, most of the layman understanding is, we may assume it's a physical server for us, but that is not correct. And that host may have 200 instances. It doesn't mean that 200 instances belongs to us only. Okay, the 200 instances may be our account related or other also. It's a shared kind of thing. Okay, but technically in the virtualization, if we are using one VM in the same host, connecting to another VM unauthorized, it's almost impossible. Do you get that point? Means all are running in a shared infrastructure also, but one VM unauthorized accessing another VM, another data is almost impossible If that's going to happen technically, then there is no concept of public cloud. Okay, then there is no concept of public cloud. Everyone will come to private itself, because that same host is used by another 199 persons also, right? 199 organizations also they may use. Okay, if one VM data or one instance data, if another company uses, then there is no chance for security kind of thing or privacy kind of thing. But technically, it's impossible in the virtualization. Technically, it is impossible for virtualization. So now here, I hope you got the two terms. One is host. Second one is a virtual machine. Some companies may go for a dedicated host also. That means I'll run 100 my instances, but I don't go for a shared host. A company can buy their own. A company can buy their own dedicated host also they can buy. Okay, what is the disadvantage of dedicated host? Say if you go for a hotel, you will take the complete hotel or only one room?
One room.
Only one room. Who can take the complete hotel? Like maybe we have a company, our company want to conduct one maybe annual kind of celebrations, all those. They may take the complete hotel. Okay, that means large scale enterprises, still they can afford dedicated host also in the AWS. Okay, so that means even AWS offers that kind of service also for us. But what is the problem is it's very expensive kind of thing. It's very expensive kind. But by default, we are getting is shared kind of thing. Those EC2 instances, backend are running in the shared instances. I definitely know today most of the people, like 40 to 50% of the people who are using AWS or Azure, they don't know all these things, but still they're using, because these all abstracted for us. Okay, without knowing all these also we can use, but if we have this knowledge, you can understand what's happening in the backend when we launch, when we connect, all this we can simulate. Okay, so by default we can get a dedicated host also. But what is the problem with the dedicated host is, if the dedicated host will have a hardware failure, okay, what is going to happen? We will have more impact or not? If it is a shared host is lost, like if it is any hardware failure happen or power failure happen on our physical host, in the shared hosting, we may have one or two instances only. But if it is a dedicated host, all those 100 instances also belongs to us itself. That means it's very expensive kind of thing. It's very expensive kind of thing. So that is the reason, like, it's recommended to go for shared hosting itself in the AWS. But large scale companies, they can afford 40 to 50 dedicated hosts also. In that use case, even one host goes down, another host also they will provide. Okay, any doubts on this? So then, so now here in the type 1 hypervisor, type 1 is deployed as a bare metal. That means the first thing itself should be installed is type 1 as an operating system we are going to install. And the hypervisor automatically communicates and directly it acts as an interface between operating system. Sorry, it acts as an interface between hardware and allocating the resources to the virtual machines. Okay, it is going to support all the resource allocation, all those also it is going to support. Okay, mostly the data centers, cloud, all are using bare metal hypervisors itself. Then type 2 is only for the lab purpose we can use, not a enterprise product. So this diagram yesterday we have seen, right? On top of your instance, you can have an operating system, you can have your own applications, but instead of using the term called virtual server, we are using the term called instance. And in the physical server in AWS, what they are installing? In the physical server, what is the like operating system they are installing?
Hypervisor.
Yeah, that is Gen source.
Yeah, Gen source hypervisor.
Yeah, if you use Azure, Hyper-V they are installing. So there would be a lot of, say, suppose if there is no virtualization, no cloud computing, in the last 20 years, the earth is going to fill with the e-wastage itself. If you see the complete, all India like is getting refurbished desktops, refurbished laptops. Okay, say if there is no virtualization, today the earth is going to fill with the, like lot of servers also. But why we are not getting much servers is, okay, so we are going to use the like server virtualization. Power consumption also is going to reduce. Data center size is going to reduce. Okay, and easy to give the environments very fastly, and we no need to mind any of the resource kind of thing, and multiple kind of operating systems like Linux, Mac, Windows, everything also we can provide. Okay, any doubts on this? So we have a lot of advantages. What is the main disadvantages? We have a lot of advantages. All these advantages we are getting even in the cloud also. What is the main disadvantage? What is the main disadvantage is, if any hardware failure happens, impact is more compared to normal physical. Compared to normal physical environment, okay, we have more impact. You got it right? For this, AWS or any of the virtualization has given like solutions for us. Okay, even if any hardware failure happens, there is a concept called high availability. What is going to happen with the high availability is automatically the VMs will move from one host to another host. Okay, automatically the VM is going to be moved from, okay, automatically we can move from the one host to another host. That means already we have a solution very long back. Means 15 years back itself, we have this solution. Even in the cloud also, say hardwares are 90%, it would be stable, but 1% of risk is there sometimes. Even if any hardware failure happens also, automatically the VMs will move from, automatically the VMs will be moved from one to another one. Okay, one host to another host, automatically we can move. But upfront we have cost. But in cloud we don't have this problem, because in cloud we don't have that problem. Why? That upfront cost of the hardware, all those have been maintained by AWS itself. Licensing, you no need to worry. Okay, then we need to learn virtualization before, but today this is also not a problem. But whatever the disadvantages of the virtualization have been resolved by the cloud also. You get the point? So these are all the issues we have in the normal on-premises. If you are using virtualization, these are all the challenges. But in the cloud, we don't have these challenges. Okay, so now here in the virtualization, we have a terminology. What is the terminology? We'll discuss 3 to 4 terms. Then we'll close today. A virtual machine is sharing the physical resources. Okay, and what it is doing? What it is doing? Like it is running as an isolated environment kind of thing. It's a virtual computing environment. It's a virtual computing environment. Okay, the second one is, what is that second term? What we need to understand is cloning. Physically, cloning is little tough. Okay, so we used to do VMware, before VMware, we used to do Ghost or Network Ghost, semantic product disease. If one physical machine clone, if we want, we need to use the Ghost software. But in the virtualization, if we want a similar kind of virtual machine, I just can create a copy or clone kind of thing. Okay, so that cloning, what is the meaning of cloning? You want a similar kind of virtual machine, what we can do it? We just can clone that. Okay, then there is one more term called as template. What is the meaning of template is, if we want 100 servers or 1000 servers of similar, we are going to create a template. Okay, from the template, we can launch how many number of VMs we want. In the AWS environment, that itself is called as AMI. Okay, that means in our environment, who need to create the templates is VMware admin need to create the templates. But in the AWS environment, who are creating the AMIs? AWS will provide. Okay, AMI is called as Amazon Mission Images. It's having a pre-configured OS templates. Is having a pre-configured OS templates. What is the advantage with this? If you want a similar kind of mission, you no need to install from scratch. Already a ready-made Ubuntu is available, or CentOS is available, or maybe we have a Windows server that is available for us. Okay, then a final term today will finish, snapshot. What is the concept of snapshot is? The state of a VM we can preserve by taking a snapshot. Okay, so yesterday night, 11:30, I took a snapshot of my VM or instance. Tomorrow morning, all of a sudden it's not working. You no need to worry. We just revert back to that state. So what is the advantage of having a snapshot?
Which type of data we have in a snapshot?
Come again?
Which type of data we have in snapshot?
Everything, the state of the complete VM is going to take.
Okay.
Okay, so what is the concept of snapshot? Even in the the snapshot is the state of the VM we can preserve. So day after, day before yesterday also we may have a snapshot. But reverting back to the older snapshot, what is the so what is the challenge or what is the risk to reverting back to the older snapshots? What is the risk to reverting back to the older snapshots is that patch levels or updates are very older one. It's risky in the production servers. Okay, that is the reason always use the latest. Okay, so that is the reason always use the latest snapshots itself. Okay. So these all the terms from the AWS wise. In the next session, we will discuss. Today I said from the virtualization wise, VM, cloning, template, snapshot, high availability. Okay, so these all the, say what is the vMotion? vMotion is from one host to another host. We can move the VMs also. One data center to another data center also we can move. Say if you have a like a private cloud, we are going to learn virtualization for more than 1 month. But in our use case, that's not at all required because it's the responsibility of provider. Okay? Any doubts before? So in the next session, we'll discuss more on like what is EC2, what is the EC2 terminology, how to create the instances, how to connect to those instances. We'll discuss in the next sessions.
Sir, could you please provide us all three